Welcome back to Press Review In-Depth. Since Iraqi Prime Minister Nouri Al-Maliki announced he would be stepping down to make way for fellow Dawa party member Haider Al-Abadi, commentators are asking to what extent Abadi is capable of drawing together different sects in the country and presenting a united front to the Islamic State. Turkish newspaper today's Zaman questions whether Iraqi Prime Minister Haider Al-Abadi can deliver results in a fractured Iraq. The paper says his nomination has been strongly supported by international leaders, one commentator saying the stunning collapse of the Iraqi state in its vast northern and western provinces may be Maliki's most significant legacy. After 9 decades as the capital of a unitary, centralised state, Baghdad no longer rules Kurdistan, nor Fallujah, nor Mosul, and might never rule them again. The paper adds it is our contention that Al-Abadi is Iraq's last chance to remain intact. He has to develop an overall policy for the country that abandons Al-Maliki and the Islamic Dawa party's exclusionist approach. The article adds Al-Maliki has left Al-Abadi an Iraqi state that has reverted to the authoritarianism of the era of former President Saddam Hussein. Most of Iraq's infrastructure is in ruins and 2 million people have been internally displaced. Further, the Shiite groups that support his candidacy are the same groups that have given unwavering support to Al-Maliki's sectarian policies. Therefore, the removal of Al-Maliki was basically an in-house coup. And in the race to acquire senior government positions following Maliki's rise to power in 2006, Al-Abadi rejected calls to give Iraq's minority Sunni Arabs and Kurds more posts than they would otherwise expect based on their showing in the polls, even if doing so might have helped foster a stronger sense of national unity. With the Kurds, he needs to rebuild trust and abandon the centrist tendency of his predecessor. The article concludes, these measures are revolutionary and require a leader with strong leadership. Having examined Al-Abadi's personality and record, it's difficult to believe that he's up to the task. And Rebecca Collard of The Economist writes, can Iraq's new Prime Minister keep the Sunnis on side? The article says Haider Al-Abadi must regain the trust of Sunnis after years of a sharp sectarian divide in Iraq. The militants now control 1/3 of Iraq and the organisation is easily recruiting from the disenfranchised Sunni population. ISIS is believed to have enlisted thousands of new fighters in recent months. The article adds, but to beat back the spread of ISIS, he'll need to win over Sunnis bruised by years of Maliki's leadership, not just the political leadership, but also the Sunni tribal chiefs. The author adds, bringing tribal leaders back into the fold would require Abadi to decentralise authority from Baghdad to empower Sunni provincial leaders. But so far, the Sunni tribes of the Nineveh province have shown no signs of pivoting towards the central government from the leadership offered by ISIS. Well, now we're joined by political commentator Hassan Al-Khatib. Thank you for joining us, Hassan.
Hi there, thank you.
Iraq is in chaos. We've seen the IS take over swathes of land and there's widespread mistrust of the government there. Some are calling Haider Al-Abadi Iraq's last hope. What do you think? Is this the case?
Well, people who are close to Haider Al-Abadi will probably admit to you that he's probably not the same sort of type of person as Nouri Al-Maliki. Nouri Al-Maliki was known to be quite tough. He was, he had a plan for Iraq, and but of course, when people are quite tough and they are quite strong in their positions, they do form a lot of enemies. And we've seen over the past few years when Nouri Al-Maliki was in office, he made not very good friends with people in Kurdistan, in certain Sunni areas, and also internationally, the West. And there were times when even Iran weren't very happy with him so much. But of course, what we have to understand is, one, Nouri Al-Maliki was obviously elected as the Prime Minister. He got most of the votes in the election that was held only a few months ago. And you have to also understand that Iraq is going through, the very beginnings of, if you like, a democracy, and they haven't really yet settled down. Nouri Al-Maliki was actually appointed as the Prime Minister because, pretty much in the same way as he was removed, Jafri was actually nominated and elected as prime minister in 2005. He was then removed because of so much pressure coming from internally in Iraq and externally from the Western countries wanting him to be removed. He was removed, Nouri Maliki came in, and now the same thing has happened to Maliki, where he's been removed and now Al-Abadi's been in. Whether or not Al-Abadi will make a better job at what's going on in the moment remains to be seen. He's just been elected, and there's a long road for him to go in the future. But I don't think, and many people who know Al-Abadi don't think he maybe doesn't have that strength in character to try and maybe possibly, keep Iraq together as it has done for the past few years. Although, it does, signal another thing, which is put a lot of pressure off the current Iraqi government and the ruling party, because a lot of people were against Nouri Maliki continuing a third term in office, and now that's kept, all sides happy. But then again, that's come at the cost of the democratic elections. So, we're going to probably see more of this in the future, whereby there'll be more pressure on Iraq, and, party is going to be divided, not knowing what to do about the current crisis that's going on at the moment, and with Kurdistan looking for independence, with the, some Sunni militants, taking more and more towns and cities as they, spread across the western parts and the northern parts of Iraq.
Yeah.
There'll be more pressure on the Prime Minister.
And
definitely.
In one article, the removement of Al-Maliki and the replacement with Al-Abadi was called an in-house coup, and it seems as though the controlling central power in Baghdad is becoming harder and harder with increasing sectarianism in Iraq. Do you think sectarian troubles will only get worse and that Abadi will be unable to control them?
Yes, I think what the future holds isn't very good for Iraq, simply because what we're seeing at the moment is the rise, obviously, of ISIS, the Islamic State of Iraq and Sham, which is spreading and is causing havoc around, the country, and also, they're looking to go to areas closer to Baghdad and Diyala, which is on the eastern side of Iraq. And when that's also there, and then you have the American military involvement and arming the Peshmerga army and the Kurdish regions, and then you have a highly militarized, group in the north. That's also quite a danger to Iraq's stability and Iraq's unity, because, the Western agenda was to split the country into three, and that is looking likely ever, the more we go, month by month, week by week, we are seeing that plan taking place, and it is taking root at the moment. The ethnic cleansing of the Christians, the Shiites in Tal Akbar, the Yazidis in Mount Sinjar. This particular plan is also a ploy to ethnically cleanse all the religious minorities in the Sunni areas of Iraq, so that the Sunni side will be predominantly Sunni. And America has allowed, ISIS to do that, to kill and to destroy churches, mosques, graves and shrines in those areas, so that all minorities will be removed, and therefore it will be easier to split Iraq into sectarian, regions, such as Sunni parts of Iraq. However, when we saw, as soon as ISIS tried to get into Kurdistan, that's when the red line was, crossed, and that's when America came in, because America wants to keep Kurdistan Kurdish, to have a country, and to keep ISIS, located in the Sunni areas, whereby they can divide the region further and further. So what we're really seeing is just it's like the Western agenda being played out here, and the Iraqis, the Iraqis are in the middle of all of this, and then the ones who are having to, suffer.
Well, thank you, Hassan, for talking to us. We'll have to end it there.
Thank you.
That was Hassan Al-Kati, political analyst. For more updates, please visit levant.tv. And subscribe to MidEast In-Depth on iTunes. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.